Hey everybody, it's Steve. Just wanted to go on for a quick brokerage training today. Sorry, I had some car trouble this morning. I'm running a little late. Um, I wanted to show you a unique way of, um, not unique, I guess. It's well known. It's just not often done. Of generating leads. We've already covered generating expired leads, but I'm going to go through that as part of this anyway. So we're going to go into this and look at. Let's check my messages, make sure nothing's killer here. All right, no, nothing's deadly. Let's see. All right. So with the changing market, and guys, I got to tell you, it's getting weird out there. And there's two versions of what's happening. Okay, the one version is we're about to fall off a 2008 level cliff. Stocks are going to crash. Everything is going to crater. So that's the first version. And I honestly am not sure that's not what's going to happen. And I honestly don't know that personally, not to get political, but I'm not a fan of the drunk frat boy way we're running our country right now. We don't have a functioning Congress that doesn't fully obey the executive branch. We don't have a Supreme Court that doesn't fully obey the executive branch. And we have a guy in the executive branch who puts loyalists in power instead of people trained in the field. We have a surgeon general who's not a surgeon. We have a director of health and human services who's a drug addict lawyer. We have people being put in financial positions who are not skilled for those positions. I have no problem with them as people. I have no problem with their political leanings, kind of. But those aren't the skill sets we need. We make huge slashing cuts to departments and administrations and redirect congressionally appointed money illegally without an expert saying, hey, this is proof that Medicaid needs $1 trillion cut. Sure, it needs cutting. Where's the proof that broke it down? And because of that, the full faith and credit of the United States is in danger. And all I'm saying is that I can see that as being one of the possible outcomes, that there's a crater coming and we're not going to bounce back because the world has started to figure out ways around America instead of everything going through America. Or we have the world's largest buying opportunity coming up. We have a 2008 level spend your cash to, hoard your cash and spend it buying opportunity. So either way, I have some very bullish, very pro-Trump, very well-respected individuals in my circle who are rah-rah about this. But even they are saying this is not the time to be flipping. This is not the time to be speculating. This is the time to be cautious and investing in cash flow and carefully evaluating deals. That's good for us. And I feel badly saying it, but to go back to an old quote from a 2000 or 1980s movie with Joe Pesci called The Super. Death, divorce, destruction, that's where we make money. Well, I don't want it to sound that like dire, Mad Max and the Beyond Thunderdome, but yeah, we in the wholesale business make money when people are scared. As Warren Buffett said, when they're scared, get greedy. When they're greedy, get scared. Unfortunately, we have something I've never seen before where we have extremely wealthy being greedy and extremely not wealthy being scared. So I'm not quite sure how those go together. But, and again, this isn't political. I'm not taking a political position. I think both parties have screwed us over. But we're in a weird time. However, because we're in this cycle, the better focus of this conversation is we're in a downward cycle for real estate. We spent the last 4 years in the largest in my lifetime anyway, or my lifetime in real estate, the largest growth of value, at least since 2006. 2005, 2008 was a huge bubble. We blew up a bubble after COVID. People spent money pretty much without doing the math. I mean, I have no whatever, and not having done the math. So we covered doing expired listings before. So you're going to go into your whatever your favorite search tool is, and you're going to do a search based on, I'll use Flex, based on all boards, based on your favorite flavor of type of property, yes. And in this case, we talked before that if you search by expired and you get the daily updates on the expireds, that you will, after the first couple of days when the old ones have already come and gone, because you first get them, it's going to send you expireds throughout history. And then every morning it's going to send you the new ones, the ones that newly expired. And those are the ones you target. You call the seller up, don't call the agent. You skip trace the seller, call the seller up, and there you go. Have a conversation. Say, listen, I know you were listed, you just expired. I'm with Gorilla. How can we help you? We're cash buyers. We're also brokers, yada, yada. Take them through the spiel. We can walk you through that. Get us on the phone with those people. When they answer the phone, dial me in. Take care of it. This isn't that. This isn't expired. This is active. We are going after active listings. Now, this is a little one that is hard to search somewhat, because not always is days on market a search criteria. Okay, so what you're looking to search by, and I'm just going to limit this now to Scranton Auto Realtor, see if, because Scranton has a pretty good search field. Listing contract date, an excellent way to start this. And let's say you want to know everything that's been listed for more than 60 days. So we'll say 9 to 9/20, not 2035. 2025. So everything listed older than 60 days that's still active. And then, of course, your other favorite tool is map. So we have 171 listings in the Scranton board alone, on residential alone, that has been listed more than 60 days. All right, so what do we know about a property listed more than 60 days? And by the way, I'm going to change this now, and I'm going to go all boards: residential, multifamily, commercial. And I'm going to delete this particular circle. And I'm just going to use my personal circle of what I personally want, just because it's what I personally want. Okay. So within this circle, and when I go outside this circle, maybe, but all right, 7 mile circle. And listing contract date there. 237 potential listings. That's obviously absurd for you to call them all. Now, I probably should, just because this is my particular search, I should put a listing price that I don't want to buy anything over $300,000. Just, my computer's going low on power, so let me plug in here. So We plugged in. So we have 165 now to look at, which is still, wow. Now you'll notice 0.01. Okay. These are probably leased opportunities or something else, because obviously you're not paying 1 cent. You might be paying 1 cent per square foot, 1 cent per square inch, who knows, whatever. They just put a number in because they were required to. So I sort descending just because, whatever. Now, all right, solid brick building in highly visible location. Boom, boom, boom. Now, you look at this and you see days on market 204. Again, not shockingly. Sadly enough, it's not a sort criteria. I don't think it is it? No. But hey, this one's been on the market a long time. This may be a time to throw a crazy offer at them. And this is what we call MLS wholesaling. In terms of, we know these people have wanted to sell their property for a long time. This one's been on the market for 94 days. Okay. Not necessarily what we would, whether is it what we would wholesale, I don't know. But the point is, this would be the time to look at it, send the agent a message and say, hey, I see you've been on the market for a long time. I might have a buyer at a substantially reduced price who can close quickly. This isn't necessarily to go look at 1,000 properties, because your chances of getting to slash these things are somewhat limited. But the point is, and especially right now in the residential sector, where there's fewer and fewer residential buyers. My primary lender that I work with believes the next few years are not about flips. They're about rentals. Now, if I take residential out of there, just because it's not my preferred sector. Now, let me be clear on terminology. This is not actually, okay, so in the lending world, in the investor world, single family is units 1, 2, 3, and 4. Multi is 5 through 20, I think, and then it becomes commercial. In this terminology, residential is single family. That's it. Multifamily is multifamily, which I think makes a lot more sense as a way of calling it out. But a lot of people will say, I buy single family, meaning I buy 1 through 4. Anyway, back to this. And we have to redo our sort. So now we've come up with, and this one I think is the old, what is this one? So 275 on Hazel Street. Looks like it might be a car lot. So anyway, they've been on the market for 150 days. And also look at, when you're looking at what zoning allows for many uses. Your first question here would be, is the tenant staying? Anytime you're buying something, is the tenant staying? Commercial building, high traffic location. Nothing here indicates tenant occupied, appointment only. Is the tenant staying? Would be the question there. That may or may not affect your interest. Shawnee Avenue, Plymouth. All right, 133 days on market. It's a triplex in Plymouth. That number might actually work for me. And then, of course, I'm going to scroll down because I'm personally interested. 37.2, and interestingly enough, they're saying there's total annual expenses of $2,700, but yet the net income before debt is 37.2. But okay, so 37.2 minus 10,000 for my pad minus 3,000 For the other expenses, so 37.2 minus 13 is 24. This one actually works, a thumbnail sketch for me on my numbers. So I'm checking these off for my own purposes. But these are the ones you're looking at and you're saying, oh, you've been on the market for 133 days. Hey, agent, would you consider, I'm, broker with whatever, agent with whatever, or, you don't even have to identify yourself as that at this point. You can say, hey, I am interested. I and my team is a great way to say it. I and my team potentially are interested at a reduced price. And if the response is, nope, the seller is sitting pat with, say la vie. And that's what this is. And what you do with this, or what we do, again, we have to do this as from a legal standpoint as a broker on a wholesale. Now, if you had a true commercial building, if you have land, if you have 5+, mixed use, anything like that, you can, we can do this with you. You can be the front man on this because it's not under 1173. But, we're part of the equation. But anyway. Now understand, herein lies the problem. The number we have to get this at, forgetting the ones that I actually want to consume myself, which I've seen all these pretty much. Forgetting the ones that I want to consume myself. We have to realize that it's been on the market, and I'll just show you something else in here. You go to history. You see it came on at 198 in June, and they haven't moved the price. Oh, correction, they actually did. They came on at 222, and they've dropped down $20-something thousand. But we realize the market has seen it at this price since September. So no one's buying it at this price. No one's biting nearly at this price. So we can't say, oh, we can buy it at 180 and we'll be able to sell it at 190. No. The world's been seeing it at 198. Everyone's made, if they got offers, they got them, 190. You can predict what they got them at. But, close to but not at asking would be a reasonable assumption. And so we can't predict come back at this price. That's the problem with things that are already advertised, is that we have to come back at a number that we have to buy it at a number we still have room to resell it at. And here they don't even give, they're saying no monthly rent. So income moneymaker, but we're not going to tell you the numbers. So, examining, how do I put this? Basically, we have to be able to come back at a price. We have to buy it at a price. So, like on that one, let's say it was listed at 198. I'm probably offering 120, 100, 130, because I got to be able to and how high I go is a question, but I got to be able to consume it at a price where I can turn it around and resell it at that price. So here we go. It's a 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom. So they're showing it as vacant, and everything is in the rent, except for electric. So 2,600, let's say. So I'm going to mark this. Anyway, so this is really the path. Now, if you decide to reach out on this one, I still want you putting these into the GHL as new opportunities. I still want you filling out the form to put it in as a new opportunity. So we have a way of tracking it. Now, you don't need to put it in until you feel it's ready. As licensed agents, you don't. If you're not licensed, you do. Because I want to keep control. I want to keep an understanding, because what I don't want to have happen is I don't want the same agent receiving 3 calls from us on the same property. So one step I would suggest before you go and do it is check the system. Check with me. Hey, has anyone done this? But if they get a couple calls from us, I don't really care. But I'm saying I'm encouraging you to use the system, which means go high level, go in here, and you can go to, easiest one is go to opportunities and add your opportunity, or go to the form that I'll give you. I think if I add up, so if I go seller pipeline, I add opportunity. All right, so I'll make add opportunity have the field. So if you go to the form, which I'll send you, whatever. The point is, I'd like to keep these in a system, but I don't really necessarily care either. If you're just inquiring, don't bother. If you get past the inquiry, if you inquire and say, hey, would they take a lower price? And the answer is hell no. Well then, okay, we move on. We don't need to ever put it in the system. If it take a lower price, yes, we get to processing it, then it should go in the system. I'm kind of rethinking this as we go. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover, because I think it's an interesting way to look at property. It's an interesting way to consider making use of the longer times on the MLS. All right, thank you. Bye-bye, guys. Phone's blowing up today, huh? Hey, man, sorry, I just finished my class. How you doing?